very important year as well. 30 years anniversary of normalization of the relationship of two countries. So, generally speaking, both U.S. government and U.S. American people, their perception of China and their knowledge of China is rather limited, to be frank, very limited. I think sometimes their understanding of Chinese and Chinese culture, especially about Chinese history, sometimes oversimplified and generalized. So this is mainly due to, I think, education and media. This is not for the American people. It's for your education system and your media. For example, for China, we started to learn the world history and the world geography from the middle school. In world history and world geography, of course, American history and American geography, and it occupies a large part, especially since the past 30 years, because more and more people get interested in studying and knowing about America. But unfortunately, that in the United States, in your textbooks, they teach very little. I don't know, I haven't read, but I was told very little about China, especially about Chinese culture, about Chinese history. And the media, there's no full coverage of China. This is a big difference. If you go to China, that you'll find there are many channels of TV. Now I think there are over several hundred TV channels in China. And also radios, newspapers, books, you'll find that everywhere you find these introductions about America. Both history, culture, your economic development, your financial system, your political system, everywhere you could find it. But in the States, the situation is different. So I think this is one of the future teaching, education. The other than the media, education and media. But due to all these reasons, that it's unfortunate. Now our cooperation getting closer, and the two countries becoming second largest trade partner for each other. In addition to the, I think this is credit or debt, that's become that's not side issue. That's not big issue. But more important, our economic and trade cooperation is still increasing. So this interdependence of our economies between our two countries will still increase. So that's why I think we still need this enhance and improve our mutual understanding for the benefit of better cooperation.
Fair enough. But you say that there are hundreds of television channels and radios in China, and therefore there is great understanding in China of the rest of the world and of the United States. But that is not the feeling that we have here in the United States, because the feeling here is that China controls all sources of information, and that everything is put in a straitjacket, and that the Chinese public does not have information about the rest of the world. Is that true or is that false?
No,
and if so, if this is not correct, why is it that the Americans have this feeling?
That's not true. That's the responsibility of the American media. What they're interested in, they're not giving the American public a full picture of China, but they are interested in giving American people, American public, a very single events, independent, isolated incidents or accidents. That's the perception of the media. And another circumstance, this is my second posting in the States. I worked in New York at a mission in mid-80s for 4 years. This time I have been here 3 years and 4 months. So what I found that is a very peculiar situation here that the US TV not becoming monopolized by these cable networks. Cable networks have brought a lot of exposure for different program channels. But they also have kind of monopoly control of your exposure of the media. So I find that most of the TV channels, they are focused on local. They introduce local politics, local events. Even CNN, it's difficult if you go to a hotel or go to your friend's apartment, house. Sometimes the local people, they don't watch CNN International. They say watch CNN, local CNN. So they have a different channel. So it seems that I think actually for the United States, I think as a foreigner, we encourage American people to devote more time to read and listen to the international news, to understand outside the world. Actually, outside the world is not different from what is being taught and what is being taught by your media.
Well, there is no doubt that in the United States, considering the fact that the relationship with China is so important, I agree that the general knowledge about China is relatively poor in the United States. We are in a university setting here, and there are a number of professors sitting with us. And I think one can safely challenge this university setting and these professors to try to name 3 Chinese dynasties in correct chronological order. And we will see how many of you can do that. And this is your most important partner that we are talking about, namely China. And so there is a lesson there. But I am amazed by another fact about China, namely that somewhere you took a decision that you were going to start teaching English to everybody in the schools in China. And the result, I am told, is that today you have 400 million English-speaking Chinese. That makes you the #1 English-speaking country in the world. And for us in the United States, I think this is a matter of that we have to take due note of, that Ambassador Liu is here to teach us English. How many people do you think in the United States know Chinese?
Actually, I think the situation changed over the past 30 years. The situation changed because even in the United States, Chinese teaching already becoming second foreign language just after Spanish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a good improvement. Especially in these big cities, on the East Coast and on the West.
I can understand learning Spanish because the Mexicans are invading the United States. But why learn Chinese? You are not invading the United States.
No. I think that's a good phenomenon, a positive phenomenon, that more and more American public, American people are getting interested in China. We are learning about speak Chinese. We learn to speak Chinese, and that's very, very important. Of course, that cannot be compared with what those Chinese learn to speak English. I don't know where you find the figure, that 400 million, but maybe that's too big.
Really?
Yeah.
It's only 390 million.
Yeah, because I think before for preparation for Olympics last year.